What is up, internet, and welcome back to another episode of VGC Basics. Today we're going to be talking about speed versus bulk and how do you invest in your Pokemon. How do you know when to invest in either speed or bulk in your Pokemon? This is an age-old question that every single Pokemon player asks, and today I'll be tackling the different aspects of it and what you want to take into account when considering how to invest in your Pokemon. So let's get started. The number one thing you want to know is what your Pokemon's role on the team is. Is it a defensive tool or is it an offensive tool? If it's a sweeper, you probably just want to be going as fast as possible and in Trick Room as slow as possible. I always got to mention that because it is a thing, and Trick Room is very prevalent in this metagame. It is very, very good with Dusclops running around and a lot of other things. With Porygon 2 being banned, things are starting to open up for other Trick Room setters like Hatterene and Jellicent and Cofagrigus, Runerigus. I've even seen Gengar with Trick Room. So, if you're an offensive tool, you want to just be going as fast as possible and hitting as hard as possible. So that answers your question there. Speed over bulk, speed for sweepers. If you're a support Pokemon, usually you want to invest more in bulk so that you can stay on the field for longer and help your partner Pokemon take KOs. So if you're using anything like redirection wise, then obviously you want to invest in bulk and not in attacking stats, because you want to stay on the field as long as possible to help your partner Pokemon stay alive too. And then there are also self-damaging strategies with weakness policy. Sorry, talking too fast for my brain to keep up. But so if you damage yourself, and you're using a support Pokemon for that, sometimes you want to actually mitigate the damage you're doing to yourself. Like right now I have a Hitmonlee team, and if you saw in my other video with my Hitmonlee, let's see, where is it? Hitmonlee 2.0. This is probably going to be in a different video, but it's a very good team with weakness policy, Hitmonlee, and Comfey with Draining Kiss. And so Comfey is going to be doing a lot of damage to Hitmonlee, so I actually put 0 IVs in special attack and a minus special attack nature, so it's not doing as much to my Hitmonlee, because Comfey, its role here is just to heal my Hitmonlee, Trick Room and Ally Switch and Draining Kiss to get the weakness policy off. So I don't want to be doing a lot of damage to myself, and therefore I will divest, the opposite of invest, from those stats, because I don't want to be doing as much damage to myself, because that Pokemon's role is not to be doing damage. It's to support the sweeper on the team. There are also Pokemon like Whimsicott is a great example, that just to chip damage, to break sashes and let the sweepers take KOs, but also has a lot of support moves. And usually with a Pokemon like Whimsicott, you'll be giving them something like a Focus Sash to just live a hit, and because they're so frail. And then you have those Pokemon that are speed control. So those Pokemon are kind of complicated because it depends on what you're doing. If you're going fast, you obviously want them to be fast. But if you have priority, let's say Talonflame has priority Tailwinds with Gale Wings, then you might not necessarily want to invest in speed. In Talonflame's case, you do want to invest in speed because it's not bulky at all and it's not worth investing. That's another thing you have to consider. Is it worth investing in HP or defense? Because will it really matter? Do the Pokemon stats reflect good bulk? If a Pokemon has really bad defenses, then obviously you shouldn't invest in bulk because that's a waste of EVs. So in terms of Trick Room though, you always want to be super bulky because Trick Room has -7 priority, meaning it will always be the last move in the turn. So obviously you want to be bulky. Dusclops always runs max HP. So there's that. Next thing is, how do you actually affect your stats? So I've talked about this in previous videos, but there are 3 ways of affecting stats. There are IVs, which are the innate stats of your Pokemon. There's your nature, which you can actually, each Pokemon has a nature, 1 of 25, natures, and when you catch that Pokemon, it has the nature that it has. But in this generation, what's really nice is that you have mints that you can change the nature, and you can get those in the battle tower for 50 BP battle points. And then there's obviously EVs. And so let's just go to natures for a second. These are the 25 natures. These 5 in the diagonal actually don't do anything. They don't raise a stat or lower a stat. So let's say you're using a mixed attacker, which personally I don't recommend. I've never really run a mixed attacker, but in certain situations, if a Pokemon has a type of move but only in physical when it's a special attacker, you might want to use it in certain cases just for the coverage sake. But yeah, so you might want to use any of these 5 natures to not lower or raise any specific stat if you are a mixed attacker. But the main 4 natures that you're going to want to use are Adamant, Modest, Jolly, and Timid to up your speed or your respective attack stat, either your attack or special attack. If you want to be bulky, you can raise your defenses with either a Calm, or Careful, or Bold, or Impish nature by lowering the attack stat that you're not using. And if you're a Trick Room Sweeper, or you just want to be super slow because let's say you have the ability Analytic or something like that, then you can run any of these natures. But I obviously recommend not using a minus defense nature because you don't want to decrease from your defenses, obviously, because that's bad. Yeah, if they could get rid of Lax, Rash, Careful, and Gentle, that would be like savior for everyone. For all those hardcore VGC players who need to catch the right nature, just take out these 4 natures. They're so annoying and they don't do anything. I get that they have the neutral natures that don't impact the stats at all, but yeah. So what natures actually do is they increase the stat you increase by 1.1, and the one you decrease by 0.9. So basically 10%. And next thing we'll talk about is EVs. So EVs, you have 580 EVs, and you can add up to 65 stat points to your Pokemon's stats. As I mentioned in a previous video, you can actually add 32 stat points to any 2 stats. I'm going to go to Battle Stadium Doubles because that is, if you want to play Showdown Series 6, you play Battle Stadium Doubles, not VGC 2020, because VGC 2020 is actually still Series 5. You can still use the banned Pokemon. So I'm just going to go to the stat spread here, and as you can see, I have 155. Let's go to 80 because it's a round number. If I increase it by max, then I get 112. So 32 stats can go into any one stat. So 32 plus 32 plus 1, as you can see, and that is 65. So that is the maximum amount of stat points that you can actually add to your Pokemon stats. And this is the most efficient way to actually add stats to your Pokemon, because if you do something like this, right? Then you won't actually, if you add all the differences in stats, then you will actually get less than 65, because the way EVs work is actually that you add 4 to get your first stat point, and then for every 8 you add, you get another stat point up to 252. So the numbers with the underline are the ones that you want. Because if you don't do the ones with the underline, then that means you're wasting EV points that you can put into other stats. So the nice thing about Showdown, I'll just show you here, I have 180. 180 is one of the underlined numbers. And what's nice about Showdown is that it actually won't let you waste EVs. So I want to go to 184, you see I have a remaining 4. It won't let me, it'll just jump back to the next number, which is really, really nice. And then I can take it and invest it in defense, or whatever, depending on what you have. So 188 is the next number, so I could do that, but I can't do 184. To note, if you do it manually, it will actually leave it, but you will be wasting EVs, so I recommend using the sliders. As you can see, since I inputted it manually, it allowed me to do it. So there's that. So don't do that, use the sliders. That's what they're there for. Now let's talk about Trick Room Pokemon. Since in Trick Room, the speed order is reversed and you want to be going as slow as possible so that in Trick Room you can be going as fast as possible, you don't want to be investing your EVs or IVs in speed. IVs sometimes, because let's say you want to use that Pokemon in and out of Trick Room, so you could use Tailwind and Max Airstream and actually the Pokemon will become faster if you use those moves. So you might want to have a neutral speed, meaning 31 out of 31 IVs, and not a 0 speed Pokemon, so that you can actually go both ways, which is nice. A lot of sets that I have where I don't invest in speed, I usually do a neutral nature, and meaning not minus speed, and 31 out of 31 IVs for speed. But if you don't, and you only want to use that Pokemon in Trick Room, then usually you want a minus speed nature, just so you're in Trick Room you'll be going as fast as possible. Obviously, since you don't run speed EVs on Trick Room Pokemon, you invest in HP instead. And if you want to specifically calculate for something, what you can do is actually go to the damage calculator and invest in bulk and calculate how much it would take to KO your Pokemon. So something like Primarina, which is base 60, which is basically in the middle of the speed tiers. So usually what I would do is run a 0 speed with a minus nature sometimes, or I could run 31 out of 31 IVs and a minus attack nature instead, so that I can use Tailwind and still be pretty fast. 160 is not a bad speed stat. So there's that. But since Primarina is very bulky on the special side and has nice HP stat, you'll usually be running max HP and max special attack with modest nature or something like that. I don't think I've ever really seen a timid, because you don't really run speed on Primarina because it's not worth it, because bulky Primarina just lives everything. I don't think anything in this metagame can one-hit KO a Dynamax max HP Primarina. I don't think so. Which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But yeah. So let me see, is that all I want to talk about? My final verdict for this is, honestly, it depends. There's a lot of factors to take into account, but you really just have to understand that different Pokemon have different roles and whatnot. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. I know you guys know me from Discord, a lot of you, so share with your Discord friends who also like Pokemon. Follow me on Twitter if you have a Twitter. Yeah. Bye.